YouTube, it's your boy Magnificent. We're here today with Jared. Jared is a unique story. Now, you guys have heard of stories of SEALs going to play in the NFL. You've heard of these folks that have had incredible backgrounds before, and then transforming their skills and experience into something vocational. Here's that story with Jared. He has an incredible background, and you're about to get blown away. So I'm not going to steal his thunder. Jared, first, let's start off. Let's tell us what your background is. You know, how did you grow up, and how did you get to where you are?
Okay, I grew up kind of in a small rural area.
And then one day he was shooting at some food, and up through the ground come a bubbling crude.
Lived on a farm.
Let's address the issue of anger management. It happens in the oil field. A couple different scenarios. What are the challenges you see that happen? Why does it happen? Do you have scenarios where you got crews of 4 or 5, you're in cement, right? Mm-hmm. 4 or 5 people. How do you, what have you seen go wrong? And how do you maybe manage that from going worse?
Most of the time, from what I've seen, the anger problems, the I guess negative situations that I've seen people get into, most of the time they stem from a communication problem.
What do you mean?
So just say 2 employees having an issue amongst each other, or maybe somebody in the field with management in the office, or whatever the situation is. It's because things aren't properly getting communicated back and forth.
So let me kind of skip gears and kind of tackle what we talked about. Let's say you have a real scenario, a person who they're passive aggressive. They are good at what they do, but they have trouble expressing themselves. So they find it when, even though they want to address the situation, they get really nervous, panicky when they get in front of the person. And this is real, right? There are people that are like this. How, if you're in that situation, you're that kind of person, how do you really get your kind of challenges addressed without exploding?
You know, it's somebody's character to be able to, have patience and be able to control your anger and stuff. Sometimes you have to work on that internally to be able to overcome that. But I think a lot of times, when we're not communicating with one another, we fill in the gaps of information we don't know, and
make assumptions. You mean?
Yeah. So if we're angry, we're gonna fill in those blanks with negative things. We're gonna assume that person's singling us out personally. We're gonna assume
they're out to get you.
Yeah. So
gotcha.
if you try to put yourself in their shoes and say, okay, why are they doing this? Are they backed into a corner? Is this the only options that they had? And maybe they're not personally coming after me, but this is the only decision they could make from what they had to deal with. So try to put yourself in their perspective to understand why they're doing it, because it may not be singling you out.
So you're saying seek to understand, instead of just trying to.
And most of the time, that's where I see problems, is you have somebody in one position or one title that has a job to do, and somebody else in a different position and title and a different job to do, and they don't understand each other's jobs. They don't understand each other's positions. So that's where all those assumptions come in, and that's where they get angry and mad. So if you'll try to put yourself in their situation and understand what they're going through, a lot of times it's going to be directed away from you. You're going to realize they didn't personally come after you.
Sure.
And so I think a lot of times, if you can put yourself in that, you're going to be able to calm down a little bit. You're going to maybe not be so angry, and you can think more about what you need to say to explain yourself and your side, and go approach that person.
So no matter what, there is no getting around approaching the person. You got to approach the person.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to communicate at some point.
So there is no way around just kind of being silent, hoping it goes away. Is that ever gonna work?
No.
So let's kind of
switch
gears here. You personally, one of the things that happens is haters. Haters exist everywhere, even in the oil field. How, especially someone like you that's risen so quickly, how do you avoid from taking the negative press you get? Because there's the office and then there's the field. And you get haters from the field of people who maybe they think they've been there longer, but because you not only do what you do well, but you know how to lead people, right? How do you kind of address that and kind of manage that?
Well, I had a guy tell me right off the get-go, I think he kind of recognized that I was here to be accomplished and not just stay the guy at the bottom. And he told me, he warned me, he said, there's going to be people that they're going to get mad at you. They might like you now, but they're going to get mad and they're going to talk crap behind your back because you're going to move up fast here. And so he said, but here's the thing, you've got to worry about you, and you've got to be you. Don't let that change your work ethic.
Don't let it question your personality or make you question yourself.
And he said, you know, there's going to be guys that's been here a year that's not going to be where you're at, but you can't worry about that, because if they haven't got to where you're at in a year, it's because of something they've done. They don't have the work ethic, they don't have the attitude that you have, and so you can't worry about not, you know, stepping on people's toes. You've got to be you, and don't let anybody change that. And that really helped me, because, you know, I do worry about getting along with everybody and being a team player, and that kind of put it in perspective for me. I look at it, if somebody is aggravated or somebody did get past, I pass somebody up. It's not a competition thing for me. I'm not trying to be in competition with anybody here. I want to see everybody move up and be successful.
Who you're in competition with?
Myself.
That's a nugget, guys.
You know,
it's you against you.
Yeah, you got to focus on you being you and let them be them.
Now let's switch gears. You are on one end. How do you handle challenges on the management side? So you're a person who you're trying to go up, and unfortunately you feel management is letting you down. How do you properly address that? Because you've experienced, as we discussed before, there was such a thing called a Peter principle. Maybe you can kind of address that, how people are good at what they do and exist in the oil field, but they're terrible managers. And because they've been doing what they've been doing for so long, or they're good at it, company feels they could just put them in a management position. How is that bad, and how has that affected you, and how do you overcome that?
And I have been in management positions in previous jobs, so I mean, I've definitely managed people before. And in my opinion, to be a leader, you have to be the #1 team player. So I mean, people look at it as being a boss, you know.
So it's not the one that swings the hammer the best, that necessarily runs the equipment the best, because there's this idea that you have to be the best equipment operator to be the best manager. Is that true?
You can train anybody to swing a hammer. You can train anybody to run the equipment, and you can get them proficient at it. But it's hard to train people to be natural leaders and be natural, you know, that team player. You know, that's something that you really have to work on. If you're not that team player, you have to learn how to work with other people, and you have to make sacrifices. I mean, it's to be the #1 team player, you can't be selfish at all. I mean, you have to worry about the other guy and your crew that you're working with. And so if I was going to pick a leader, it wouldn't be the best equipment operator. It wouldn't be the best guy that can swing a hammer. It would be that guy that everybody's looking up to, the guy that they rely on to make things happen.
Which, ironically, would you agree that usually is the best equipment operator? Usually is the best hammer swinger?
Yeah, most of the
typically,
time.
but not always, right?
Yeah, because he takes pride in what he does. Yeah,
absolutely.
We make the streams louder.